please.
They retain.
We're back from executive session. I just need a motion to accept the minutes, which I hoped you all got. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. I think we're all set. I know Steve has some things he'd like to open with, unless you have something?
So let me, a couple updates, and I'll turn over to Ed. We've been doing further talking about the prep periods for elementary teachers.
Right.
And we've also done some further work on the issue of dealing with injuries, you know, resulting from working with children. And
Yeah.
so Ed, why don't you?
And the college.
In the college,
Yeah, all that stuff.
okay.
The principals are looking at their schedules. They're trying to work this out. They understand the need to do so. Monument has already said they're switching to a 5-day schedule, which I think was probably the biggest problem that we had. So I think that's going to resolve through that schedule change. So they understand they're moving forward on that.
So Ed, can I, like, what does that mean for us in terms of language, like for the contract? I know they're moving forward on that, but, I mean, for us, the things that we're looking for was just that 45 minutes a day as opposed to like, because I think right now, one of the things that they do with the 6th period is they average 45 minutes as opposed to 45 minutes a day, and then you get 60 minutes a day, and then one day you don't get anything. So that's, for us, what we're looking for. So I appreciate that they're working towards, you know, changing that, but,
Yeah.
Our thinking there was that we wait and see what they come up with. And then if people seem to be in general agreement, we can incorporate that into the contract. But to propose something for the contract when we don't really know, you know, what will work, doesn't make a lot of sense.
can you share the elementary school language with the elementary school principals and see if that is something that they could work with, like, could work within? I know as they're, I'm sorry?
Your proposed language has been shared with all the
Okay.
other
So are they working, like, so they're working with that language, or they'll come back to you if it's
Yeah,
not workable?
It's not across the board that this is a.
Yeah.
From what we understand, Molly seems to be the biggest issue that we have.
I think it's Molly, I think Pownell was another one that's on the 6-day schedule.
And they're
Is
all
that
looking to switch off of that.
right?
So
And I know
think
Molly was looking.
I'll look at that language and see what we can do with it.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
The other update was, we've taken, the policy committee was told of your concerns regarding the student physical contact. We've added language to the policy that was there to help guide employees who have tried and haven't gotten a response. So there's new language in there, and there'll be a new procedure to follow through on this. It said, if you have basically raised an issue on this and you have not heard, you should go to the superintendent or the board of, the school board. And that'll be in the policy, be a procedure in there telling people how they should move that forward. Because it sounds like we have all the policies covered, they're just not being enforced properly.
And to follow up on that, if you want, you guys can take a. So we took the language that we were talking about in listening to you guys last go around, and decided to, instead of adding to Article 22, we clarified some stuff around 8.14, which was the working conditions, like help, and kind of tie in those policies as well. So I don't know that there's copies for everyone, but it reads 8.14 is defined by relevant state and federal law. Teachers shall not be required to work under unsafe or hazardous conditions or to perform tasks which endanger their health, safety, or well-being. And then the new part, Board Policy 50.50, discipline of pupil suspension and expulsion of pupils, and 50.65, verbal physical assault of an employee, shall be followed in handling of teacher-student incidents. any alleged violation of this section which has been submitted to a state or federal administrative resolution process, yada, yada. So we tried to tie in the policies, which you guys said, like, can we put those in place instead of adding a whole new article to the contract? So we kind of took what you were saying. I don't know if those were the policies, Ed, that you were looking to add.
The numbers
to.
don't look exactly right,
Okay.
but I get the gist of what
Okay.
you're looking at.
Good, we'll discuss this.
Right.
Any questions about this?
Well, one of the things, I guess, that I would make a statement on, policies change. And if it's in a contract, does that mean we have to come back to negotiate a contract before we can change a policy?
No, I don't think, I think it can just be like an amendment to the
Because if somebody
contract.
brings something up we
Yeah.
don't know, we're gonna change the policy.
Right, right. But and is that that, when the policy changes, does the number change as well to go with
Everything
it?
changes,
What's that?
everything changes.
Okay, so I think then, like, I mean, the contract can be amended, I think, from
Well,
there.
maybe-
But I think one of the things that you guys mentioned the last time is identify the policies within the, you know, healthy working conditions. So I don't know how you identify a policy without identifying it, you know? So I thought, I mean, we're looking to have something that mentions that these policies need to be followed in terms of the safe and hazardous working conditions clause. And that's what we had talked about last week.
Well-
So I mean, you guys can
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about it.
right.
This was our kind
Right.
of attempt at,
The only difference, Mike, is it's 5,050 and 5,065.
got it, okay, so,
So it's
yeah.
not a big
Okay.
deal, it's just doing it. And then you had asked about, you know, is there a way we could set up a program with one of the schools or college regarding paying for courses? I spoke to Castleton, and they basically said, if we are willing to, you know, do a PO and pay it on demand, which means it wouldn't get paid after the courses were done, sure, they'd be willing to set up a direct pay program. But that's not the way our program works. It's got to be paid after somebody provides their grades to us. So Castleton's not willing to do that.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to find anybody else. It just doesn't seem to be the way things are working at this point. So we asked, they said no, and then Donna provided some layers of professional language, but that's all in the policy as well, our policy. So that's not something I think we're going to be able to move forward because there's no support from the colleges.
Okay.
Okay.
Were you able to find anything on the ongoing professional development piece that we were talking about, in terms of the language you were going to look at? You know, we were talking about defining it by hours instead of by days, and whether or not that is something that was amenable, you know, to the professional development committee and to like some of those folks involved.
To that, about switching from professional development hours to days and junior conversations with Tom. Instead of dividing it by, 2 days, it would be 8 hours here and there.
It comes down to the same issue that we mentioned last time. We can include half days in the schedule, but it's, unless we talk about eliminating per diem days, I don't see where there's.
And I think some of the flexibility, and this is just, you know, if you look at those days that there are extra bus runs that happen, like the high school folks are, you know, they have their testing, you know, day, and there's an extra run. Could there be days where, okay, when there's a high school day, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. The hours can be days, but maybe you could do a couple hours of professional development in the morning for the elementary folks and the middle school folks, and then just do.
But at this time, it would be additional professional development. It wouldn't be the elimination of
Right.
any of the other days without.
Well, it would be hours. It would be checking off a couple of hours, and then do other folks have to like make up something? So it's just, for us, it's not that everything is gonna be taken in, like, 120 hours. Like, it's just, could you do a couple hours here or a couple hours there? And what we think that it'll allot is that separation between October and March sometimes
So
that happens, like.
We agree with that,
Yep.
that we can schedule additional professional development day or do release days, early release for students. But it still doesn't eliminate, the amount of days that teachers need to work, so there'll still be those days, unless,
I guess I don't know why it can't do that. Like, that's part of the,
because that's how many days you're paid for.
right, that's what's in the contract.
Right.
But
So
are we
that
talking
would have
about a
to-
contract?
That would have to be adjusted down,
Right.
is what I'm, yeah.
Correct.
Right.
That's what we're talking
That's what
about.
we
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to do.
No, we're just saying, let's talk about, that and whether, those days are all, like,
So
or can they
absolutely,
be?
we've said it all along, could we make up that professional development time and reduce student learning time, like half-days scheduled periodically throughout the year? Yes, we could, but I'm not aware that we have had discussions about eliminating the number of days worked yet, right?
That hasn't been up for discussion yet. Hopefully, maybe it'll come up today. I don't know.
Sounds like it did.
Just a slight reduction in pay for each day.
So, yeah, we weren't looking to reduce student days. We were looking to say, hey, if we can define hours and figure out where those hours were, and if it's, a day here, a day, like, getting a couple hours of professional development every month, we think would be more meaningful to the staff than having a full day and then 4 months later having another full day and trying to have some, like, kind of blend of the learning. So that's where we're at. We're trying to, in a way, think of things kind of a little bit more, with a little more flow and, as we say, ongoing professional development, as opposed to those one-shot kind of deals that happen, like, just disconnected throughout the.
Are you talking about on a regular school day then, that to do a 3-hour block that school gets out, and then there's a 3-hour block tacked on at the end of the school day? So that,
We are open to any thoughts or ideas. We're open to trying to think a little outside the box. I mean, I think for us, we just go with what's been done in the past. And I don't know that the professional development that we're currently receiving is in the best kind of form as far as kind of being able to connect throughout the course of a year.
So basically, if I understand this correctly, what you're looking for is a better way to learn the items that they're teaching you at these professional things. But at the same time, what I'm hearing is you're trying to reduce the number of days that a teacher has for the year to come in?
We are not trying to do that at all. We are looking to talk about what it is that we're doing, or what the shape is. And I use the example of the testing days. There are days that we run extra buses. I know the Mount Anthony folks know that for the testing. Can those days be professional development days for other folks? So it's just a 2-hour delay or a 3-hour, whatever it is, and then just have the teachers all in, and doing their professional development. Maybe the high school folks don't get it because they're doing testing, but everybody else does, and then there's other days for other testing or whatever. I just think that we're trying to open up more options for professional development.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, what you're really looking for is how can we provide you with more instructions and development? You're not worried about the days or the hours. You're just looking for, when we have these gaps,
Yeah.
teach us
More
more.
regular opportunity.
Continual, in the sense
Yeah,
continuous.
frequency is,
Right, continuous, not continuous,
Yeah.
continuous.
Are you looking at the model that, for instance, is up in Manchester, where they have the GISP days and it's a
Well,
half
that's
day?
once a
suggestion.
month, there's an early release on a Wednesday, so that then,
Well, actually, it's more than once a month, it's once a week during the winter.
once we're during the winter, okay, but I know in other districts, it's, maybe once a month on X day, it's a late entry for students or an early release, and yes, so something like that. which
So,
is-
so for instance, in January, February, a half day, I think they have it on Thursday up there, and another school has it on Tuesday.
When I was at Molly Stark years ago as assistant principal there, we had a late start day where we extended the day 4 of the other days, and then on Wednesday it was late start day, and the kids wouldn't come for that morning block, and that was in service time, and that was the ongoing professional development. And what we were able to do was bring in outside people to say, okay, we have this once a month Wednesday set up or whatever it was. So we're not saying that we have any 100% ideas locked in. We just think there's more flexibility if you define the in-service by hours and not by days. So that's where we're at right now in saying, we understand if it is 7 days or 9 days, you're at days. If we take those 7 days, whatever the number is that you guys come to or that we agree upon, define it by hours, and then maybe there's some flexibility that goes along with it. That's
And
what
of
we're-
course, we have to be aware of parents who work, because they have to get childcare for those days, and that would be many more days that they'd have to get childcare or after-school care. If a child's let out of school after lunch, then somebody has to be home for that child, which is more of a problem in the grade schools than it is in the middle and high schools.
Right.
So I kind of liked your idea about the testing day.
There are a couple that are built in, and I think if it becomes a district type thing, I think we could have those, they're forced or they're monthly 2-hour delays that the teachers are here and they're getting things, and then the buses run at the 2-hour delay mark, and then you get, I think it's a better way of doing it than having a student miss a full day for an in-service day, because there were times this winter, and I know this winter was difficult with the snow, but there were times that there was 1 or 2 days a week between snow days and in-service days and stuff that were set up that I don't know that was the best, not only for the teachers but the students as well, just kind of a disconnect of the learning that was going on. So
Well, again, I just put forth the idea about parents, so that maybe the original reason why they're condensed into days is because it's easier to get childcare for a whole day than maybe for an after-school or a morning.
maybe.
Well, we can certainly take a look
Yeah.
at it. Yeah, I think we
Thanks.
understand what you're after. And we'll discuss it. Steve?
Okay, we had given you some language dealing with the CDC sections 2932 and 2933. You were going to review that.
So we did, and this is, I guess, we looked at it, and we looked at 29.32, and we are willing, we're accepting, 29.32, and then we're confused with 29.33 because that article wasn't open for, and it doesn't have anything to do with 29.32. It's a separate article that then kind of went through all the hours. So I guess our confusion after getting back together with the group was we had opened up 29.32, and then you came back with 29.33, which was not listed originally by you guys as wanting to change or by us as opening up for discussion. So we do not accept 29.33 because it wasn't on our original list to talk about.
Also, Mike,
Yeah.
the deletion of language in 29.32, we also disagree with that. We'd like that language to remain in the,
Oh, you didn't, I'm sorry.
we do agree with the change in stipend.
Okay. You disagree with what?
The stricken language immediately after the change in stipend, there's language that was stricken from the contract.
Right, which is what the CDC, the provisional funds was what the CDC was looking for was the ability to assign people with duties.
But the stipend is for the teaching of a course, not for additional duties.
Right, but the issue that this causes for the administration of the CDC is that essentially any teacher who's teaching this in the second semester isn't, based on this current language, isn't able to be, you're not able to assign duties. So based on this current year, we have teachers that are, I don't know, that are unable to be assigned duties, so that we're running out of people to do the lunch duties and things like that, right? Yeah, I mean,
I hear you, but we still disagree with that deletion.
Okay?
Yep.
Then, moving on, you had given us a health insurance proposal last time. Or account-
emailed it.
and you emailed it to us, and
As I said I would.
yes, you said you would. And we have reviewed that, and we've discussed it, and we have a response to your recent proposal. Let me explain. Where we are, because I think we're very close
Yes.
in dollars.
Did you forward my, like, because I included in the email an explanation to you as to what we were
Yep.
thinking.
Yep.
So did you share that? Okay.
Yep, yep.
Thank you.
And so, you know, a couple things that, you know, we're in agreement on the premium share. Which we had asked for the association to pay 20% of the first 20% of out-of-pocket. And you countered with the board paying the first 30%.
So I can explain. You didn't say pay the first 20%. You said pay the first $250 is what you said in your, but a long time ago, it was $250 of the gold CDHP. And then when your proposal came, it didn't say $250 anymore, so I assumed we were like going with whatever, because you guys said 250 and 500 was what you wanted, 250 individual and 500. So that's part of the, like, we stuck with that on the proposal that I gave you the time before, and then your counter proposal did not have anything to do with the 250 and the 500. It went, you know, into the thousands. So that's where I was confused, and I said, okay, like, so then we'll change it up, I guess. So it was, so that was the original proposal that you guys gave, that you wanted us to be in the $250 to $500 range.
That was with the out-of-pocket, is what he's referring to, not the premium, because we changed the premium to 80/20. But the premium before was much different.
Yeah.
Right. You said that all you wanted, you said you be creative, but we are just asking you to come up with $250 out-of-pocket expenses for the single and 500 for, so that was what we heard.
Anyway,
Yep.
and then we came up with a different proposal.
Correct.
Okay? And you came up with a different proposal.
Correct.
And now we have a different proposal.
I see that.
Okay? And what I would say is that this is pretty much the board's proposal, okay? Which in terms of the first out-of-pocket, we're looking at 15%. from the employee. And then the percentages that the board will pay, which is secondary, we're sticking with the same percentages we gave you last time. So the board would pay the second 28% for platinum plan, the board would pay 37% for gold, 75% for gold CDHP, and 73% for silver CDHP. And with the sheet that I've just given you, as I mentioned, one of the things that I think we're very clear about in our proposal was that we were looking at the board's expense being equal to or less than what we were really shooting for, what we were spending in FY17, and that your expenditures should be approximating, FY17 expenditures at least for for a couple of the plans, because the platinum plan we don't look at as being comparable to, for analysis purposes, as being comparable to the dual option plan. It's a whole different plan tiers and analysis. So those are the percentages, and then the other thing you asked was that the boards pick up the cost of administering the HRA, and the boards are prepared to do that. If you, look at these, with the exception of, if you want to go with the platinum plan, and I think, we've been pretty clear all along, we're not, from the board's perspective, looking to pay more than we were paying in FY17. And for instance, we even sort of broke our commitment to that with the proposal that we gave you before and with the proposal that you have right now, because if you look at the board cost for a family plan on platinum, in FY17, we paid $19,038. Under this proposal, we'd be paying $19,425, which is more than we paid in FY17.
And I hear you, I just don't think those costs are going to be realized based on the platinum structure.
Okay.
And that's where.
We're not going to take that risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just,
And-
because why would a person then take the platinum plan if they could take the gold CDHP plan if they're going to like?
I don't know.
Wait, so.
But
I hear you. But your counter proposal that you've given us is exactly the same thing that you gave me. Like, why did I take time to like readjust? You only shrunk the, instead of 20%, you went to 15%. So to me, this isn't really a counter proposal. This is the exact same numbers that you gave us, except like less 5% based on.
And we're picking up the HRA administration
Right,
costs.
and the HRA administration.
Okay.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
That's it.
But,
We're pretty much there, okay, because
right, but you keep saying that, we're not gonna get to the point of, overage. And like, I'm saying for me, the platinum and the gold, structures are there with the co-pays that they're set up, we're way over on the platinum and the gold. So I think somebody who is going to select the platinum and the gold better be savvy enough to know that they're not going to max out on their out-of-pocket. Because why would you pay $3,000 more in healthcare costs if you're going to max out on all your out-of-pocket costs? So you saying to us that, you're way over on the platinum and the gold, I just don't think that, it's like comparing apples and oranges here. I don't see somebody, if they're gonna max out on the family plan for platinum or gold, then by all means, take the gold CDHP plan. That's what you should do, because you will save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars. So could one or two, could that happen? I suppose incorrectly, and then get out of that plan and find another one. I think the people who select the platinum or the gold plan are gonna be the people, if they are, who say, I'll pay higher premiums, but my out-of-pocket I wanna keep low, and I'm never gonna max out on the out-of-pocket expenses. I'm gonna be maybe not even to that second tier of expenses. Because they'd rather pay the higher premiums and have that $25, $35 copay in the coverage. You know how many copays somebody would have to get on for that? Now, could an emergency happen? Possibly, but I mean, it's not in all likelihood that's gonna happen. So I think that, I hear what you're saying, I just don't necessarily agree with the analysis that you're making between the plans. And I think you guys have made the platinum and the gold plan out of reach for our association. I don't think anybody's gonna look at $8,500 and say, oh yeah, that looks like a good deal. So I think what you presented is gonna just force us to take the gold CDHP, and I don't think that's fair for everybody to have to be kind of lumped into. So that's just my 2 cents.
I guess I would disagree with that analysis, but we're probably just going to disagree on that point. Because, with the analysis that you're presenting, what you're doing is shifting more cost to the board than what it has paid historically, in the sense of, if you don't think you're going to be anywhere near the max out-of-pocket, okay, then under your plan, you'd be signing up for premium cost of $4,400 for a family under platinum.
Under platinum,
okay, which is $1,500 less than what you paid in FY17. Okay, the board picks up the first 30% of out-of-pocket under your proposal, $1,680.
So we paid
Wait,
$47.38.
yeah.
$47.58 is our employee premium in. So I don't know what you're talking about with. We paid $47.58 in employee premium.
No, okay, again, we're using, and we had given you these numbers.
Yeah, that's the number you gave us.
So employee premium 20%, dual option 47.58.38 was what we used, what we paid last year.
The premium.
Right.
Okay, plus you had out-of-pocket for the dual option family plan.
Right, $1,200 out of pocket.
And I think doesn't that come up to the $59.58?
Right, total cost altogether.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what you paid in FY17.
Right.
And so what I'm saying here is, under your proposal, you would pay $44.64, okay? Which is $1,500 less than what you paid in FY17, okay?
Yep.
The board pays the first 30%.
Yep.
Which is where there is the greatest likelihood,
Right.
okay? Which is $1,800 for the board, okay? And the result is that even though you say you're picking up the next 61%,
Right.
what you're really saying is, for those employees who are not expecting to have high out-of-pocket expenses,
Right. I don't think they're gonna max at that full 3,400. You're right. I think they'll pay 1,500 of that, which gets us up to the $6,000. And I don't think you guys are gonna realize the last $504 of the.
well, we may not realize the last 504, but we will probably realize, in many cases, the 1,680, and in a lot of cases, I don't think many of your employees would realize anything beyond that, or it would be extremely limited, so that.
Are you talking about of the
Out of pocket.
Of the 3,400? I think that there will be, I think we came up with the rationale about 60% of out-of-pocket costs. I thought that was where we got to. So that was my thinking in, you take your 1,600 and the 17,800, and we're in the $19,000 range, 19,400. And then I took my the 3,400 and took it and gave it about $1,500, about $2,000. And I said, maybe that's probably what we're gonna realize in that plan, maybe even more. So that was where I was going. I was keeping your $19,000 in mind. I used your number, $19,425.82, that you proposed in devising those. So that's where I got that cost, saying those last ones, and probably the last 2,000 of the SWDEA is not going to be realized. I was making that assumption. So I wasn't just throwing numbers together. I actually took all the stuff that we've been talking about and, tried to use the numbers that you gave us and said, I think that this is, a fairly, thoughtful and fair proposal. I was expecting you guys to come back with something other than the same numbers. That was just, so I guess I'm surprised that it's the same numbers as before. So, because I don't think that's what, every time you guys come back with a proposal, it's usually me going, I didn't anticipate that.
I guess I was surprised that you gave us a proposal that had the employees not taking any of the first out-of-pocket expense, when we had been pretty clear from the beginning that you needed to take the first out-of-pocket expense. And so, but we're negotiating,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we do what we want to do. I'm not suggesting there's any bad faith or anything
Right.
else here. I'm saying that's our proposal.
Okay.
Well, in February,
Yep.
you proposed just that. You proposed to do the out-of-pocket first.
I know. 250 and 500.
Right.
That's
I
what
know.
I was.
That's what I
But
was
here you
told.
did nothing.
Because you guys came back with
We
it
came
just
back
seemed to
80-20.
me, I understand, but it seemed to me that it was, well, I believe that proposal was at an 85-15. It was, so, I mean, you came back 80-20 with a higher premium, so then I'm like, well, how can we have higher premium and higher out-of-pocket costs? At some point in time, I think for us, this is it's a lot of expenses for us, for you say, oh, you gotta pay your premiums, and you owe $1,000 on top of that before we're even looking at, there's a good majority of people that may not get to $1,000, and you're not gonna pay any out-of-pocket expenses for them. So part of our discussion was, that I don't know that that's fair, we're paying a lot in premium dollars as well, and we got to pay all the initial out of pocket, and then you guys threw at us, $1,000+ in out of pocket expenses.
Yeah, with this-
So that's a lot to ask somebody to pay $1,200 in, or in out of pocket costs, or $1,000 in out of pocket costs on top of their premiums. We thought it was a little over what we were originally.
Yeah, you're out of pocket the first, with this one here, when it was 85-15, for the family was basically $560 for the platinum, $620 for the gold, $1,000 for the gold CDHP, and $1,600 for the silver.
But that was a lower premium.
Yeah, it was 5% difference.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's where you guys keep saying, skin in the game, and I think there is skin in the game with higher premium costs, and I think, I think it's a little bit of a misnomer, because I do think that there's a different feeling in this structure with healthcare costs than I think in the current structure. And I think that people are going to be aware of how much their costs are, and do I need to go? We want to keep people healthy, but do I need to spend this? I think that's already going to happen, which is what you guys were talking about to begin with, anyways. So one of the things that I tried to do, because you said you want monies to budget, you want to know how much to budget. Like, if you're budgeting the monies, like, are you budgeting the monies, or are you budgeting like that it's not going to get spent? Because if you're allotting this money, then put it up front, and we'll, like, you guys can pay that out-of-pocket expense like first, and that's the budgeted money, and then we'll pick up the end. Rather than have the families have to budget that $1,000 or whatever. So I think that's where, like, my thoughts have changed a little bit in the higher premium costs. We can budget premiums. I think it's hard for families in this like day and age at times to budget $1,200 in out-of-pocket, expenses right off the bat on top of their premiums. So I think you'll get people paying more attention to their health costs with a shift of like, hey, you got this, and then guess what? This is how much we budgeted for. Then your costs are gonna pick up. So do you need that? Are you going to do that? That's what you guys were talking about the first day that we got here, being more aware of health expenses. So I think for me, everything that I've given you as far as your board's payment and that first out-of-pocket is not over what you've told me that you can budget for in payment. Unless the money that you said you're allotting, you're saying, oh, we're not gonna realize that. We're really, trying to, be $1,000 under that or whatever. I gave the numbers exactly as you kind of asked for them.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On these first two that are so high, does that include an HSA?
The platinum and the gold does not, no.
The platinum and the gold
No,
are not HSAs?
compatible.
No.
The majority's compatible.
So, just so you understand the numbers that we were looking at here.
Yep.
And with this out-of-pocket 15%.
Yep.
Okay. And that if you look at your premium cost and the first 15% out-of-pocket expense that's here, in every case, for platinum and gold, it's less than what you spent in FY17.
Right.
In every case.
Yep.
And we are picking up the next expense after that, so that you don't even begin to incur costs that will approach what you spent in FY17 until we have spent our dollars in that second tier. And for the board, as I mentioned, the board is actually spending more than it spent in FY17 to cover its share of commitment here. And if you use that 60% number that you're talking about, which, the chances of many of your members incurring an expense in excess of what they spent in FY17 with this proposal is not great. Some may, if they take the platinum plan. If they take the gold CDHP plan, you save money and the board saves money. There's no scenario under which, under that plan, you pay more than you paid in FY17.
Right.
The silver plan is a little bit odd, and that's the only one that has, in terms of that first out-of-pocket expenses, the $1,000 or higher, okay? But I don't honestly envision anyone taking the silver plan, if you've got it. So in terms of the rationale here, in no case is your initial expenditure of premium and 15% of out-of-pocket expense higher than what you spent in FY17, and generally it's lower. Several $100s lower or more. And the board picks up the next expense. So,
Right.
In terms of looking at how we're allocating the exposure here and trying to share what is an additional cost, I think from the board's perspective, we're trying to be pretty fair and reasonable. The other thing is, I mean, if you're going to talk about the Platinum Plan, then we're going to talk about the JY Plan, okay? Meaning, we have had dual option, and then you had the choice of taking the more expensive plan.
Right.
The JY Plan, that was a choice.
Weren't that many people who did it, but yes.
But that was a choice.
There was a choice.
And we have essentially the same model here. We've got the CDHP Gold Plan, which nobody spends more money than they do, okay?
Right.
You'll see on the sheet that I gave you, I put in the dollar amounts for what an employee in FY17 was spending on the DO plan, on the zero
Dual
comp.
option,
Dual
zero
option.
comp, yep.
And if you look, you know, the costs, in fact, the thing that, sort of always surprised about some of the differences in the tiers, but the employee cost for the Platinum Plan, if an employee wants the Platinum Plan under our proposal, it's $8,400. The employee cost in FY17 for the zero comp plan was $8,500. So from our perspective, if you want that more expensive plan, that's fine. But you'll pay what was paid when you had the option of dual option or JY plan. And if you look again, just at the single and the two-person, the difference in cost between, you know, what you would have to spend for the Platinum Plan here versus the JY plan, while there's more cost, you know, at the single tier level and the two-person, at the family level, there's less cost. So we're offering you a range of plans. You have a choice. You can spend more money or not.
One thing I would say is that what we're showing as the total cost down here
Right.
includes all of the other pocket money that would have to be spent. And we've already all agreed that the majority of the people won't be spending all the money for the cap.
Correct.
So there's definitely a savings below that amount for everybody except for the people who have the worst conditions and have to pay the cap.
Right. I just think, I mean, part of where we're at is, I mean, just that first, that first 15%, I think is a little like, and part of, I mean, I went, obviously first 30, we're negotiating, and I mean, personally, I think you know, the skin in the game is going to be in the game, and I know people are saying that, but I think it's a little like harsh to throw, you know, the $930 or $840 or whatever that cost is right off the bat on top of the premiums to some people, and that's just like they pay all of that, you know, before the board does anything. So.
But it's
that's
still
where-
less than they spent in
Yeah, it's still gonna be
FY17.
less.
I hear you. I hear you. But you know what else? It's less. It's less. It's a lot less for you, and then you guys paid, and like so that's part of like, oh, it's less for the teachers. It's a heck of a lot less for you when you don't touch it. You pay $16,000 in the gold plan for family. Oh, we paid $19,000 in this, and then you don't touch it until we pay $1,000 more out of that. So you're getting off pretty good as well. I mean, and so it shouldn't just be all on us. Like to pay, yeah, you're paying less. Oh, but you could take the gold CDHP plan. I hear you, but you know who else is like saving thousands of dollars is you for each plan that we go at. So I hear you. I think you're asking us to put like an arm in the game, and you guys are looking to like not pay as much as you have in the past. Last year you paid $19,038 in your costs.
Right.
If we took the gold plan, you're paying $16,928. That is roughly, $2,200 less than you're paying per family plan And then you're saying, you guys pay your
Where are you getting
42,
16,000?
That's the. that's
for
the-
80%, 16,928, right? In the Gold family plan.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, I don't see it in
Yeah.
there.
Board proposal.
The
Sorry,
board,
Premium,
we're paying 60.
premium.
The board is paying 13,900.
Subscriber and family gold, not the gold CDHP. Yeah, so
He's doing
I'm
gold.
using the gold.
Okay, the
Gold.
gold, okay.
Okay. So if we sign up for the gold plan, or we, you know, you're paying 16,928.45,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Again, you're saying like this percentage wise, you're saving $2,200 on what you paid, $2,100 on what you paid this past year. Now we're paying $4,200 plus the next $1,000 before you even start paying anything else. And like, that's where I'm like, I don't know that that's equitable, you know? Like, are you gonna ever realize that 19,000 that you said, oh, this is what we can afford and pay? And so that's where, I mean, that's where I think it's unfair on our end. I think we're carrying more of a burden in this than you guys are as the board and the budget and the taxpayers. I know you want to be able to budget the money. And I think part of me is like, well, it's easier to budget if you have the premium and the first out-of-pocket expenses. That's the budget, you know, rather than, unless you're budgeting saying, oh, we'll never get to that, so this is why we can budget this.
Well, I don't know that this conversation is going to go anywhere, but just understand this too. From 2010 to 2017, the boards picked up a 34% cost increase in health insurance. You guys didn't. The boards picked up a 34%.
We had to have some portion of it.
There was an
because
increase.
when premiums
You had
go up, we
a
pay
very
more as
small
well.
portion of that.
It's not,
But-
just your portion doesn't go up when the premiums go up, both of our portions go up.
Correct, but the
So-
But
cost.
we're going up 80%, you're going up 20%.
Yeah, and we could not increase, the premium increase was 34%, okay? We could only increase your contribution over that entire period of time by 5% because of the Affordable
So
Care Act.
are we covering like 2010 to 2017, or are we doing this present contract? 'Cause I mean,
We're
I don't
dealing
know.
with the whole
I mean,
history of healthcare.
Like, I understand, but I'm trying to be fair for today, and say, I mean, all of this can be moot in a little bit anyways. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with the legislature, who knows what's gonna happen with the
By
American Health
Wednesday.
Care Act, I mean, so, but, like, that, go ahead. Nelson.
Here's what I see. It's obvious that we want out-of-pocket from you first. Do your math. Tell us what it means to make it so that you pay out-of-pocket first.
Okay. I mean, I can talk it's not up to me, we can caucus and
Because
come back.
it's obvious every time we come back, and even with your first one, it was out-of-pocket first for you people. Now, I know that the premiums have been different and so forth, but take a look at it, and I think and realize that we're trying to not go any higher cost than we did last year.
Okay, so we will,
That's I don't know what the rest of them think.
What seems to be the sticking point.
well, in the amount of what it is.
Right.
Well, but I think you can adjust,
Yeah.
we need you to pay first, and I think that's one of the biggest sticky issues that I saw and has been discussed. Out of pocket, that's what we call by you having something into the game.
I know.
Premiums are gonna be paid percentage-wise all over the place for everybody. But when it comes down to that out of pocket, it's a who pays first issue, and I think by people who are on the insurance paying first, they spend their money more wisely and watch what they do when they go to the doctor. Where if somebody else is paying it for them, oh, the doctor says, go have this checkup, you don't argue about it, you go. You don't go get a second opinion,
Right.
you go. And I think that by you paying it makes a difference.
Amy, did you have something?
No, I'm gonna
So we will talk about, I probably talked too much. That's all right. So we will talk as a group later on.
All right. Well, do you want to then caucus on that, or Steve, do you have other things you want to?
I don't think we have anything else to present at this point.
Do we have a salary proposal?
Yeah, we thought that was good.
We've got to know where we are on health insurance. And right now,
Okay, so then I will say what I was about to say. So you pointed out that since 2010, you pay 34% more in premium. Since 2010, we've yet to have even the cost of living salary raise. So, and because those things do go hand in hand, then I think what we have done traditionally over the last few years is, yes, maybe because we knew you were paying more, or both of us were paying more in insurance, and that's important to us, we've accepted less in salary. So it's, the way you said it kind of sounded like the teachers have just been getting more in salary, more in premiums, which I'm not going to disagree with. But you have to know that the other side of that is we haven't been getting in the side of salaries.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a single pot of money, and we're paying health insurance, other bennies, and so forth, along with salaries out of it. And that's what it is. Now, where you want us to spend it, tell us.
And that's why that's been our preference. So I guess I just didn't want Mr. Sitzel saying that, you know, that it's made it sound like we've been getting higher and higher health insurance, but we've also not been getting higher and higher salaries.
What do you think the cost of living increase has been in the last 2 years? It's been about 1%. And you've been,
I think it's less this year.
it's even less this year. And the average amount of new money that we've been putting into salaries and benefits has been over 3%.
Yeah, you've been doing quite well compared to what other people are doing out there. I can vouch for
I
that.
am not complaining about my salary, I'm just.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, you were saying,
Picture out there, and I question what where you're getting your cost of living numbers are, because that's not what I've had. The cost of living has gone up more than 1% over the last few years.
well,
maybe 1% a year.
yeah,
And more or less. Actually, there was 1 year, I think it was actually negative.
Yes, it is.
yeah, but it's less than, I was talking about 1% a year. And the salary and the new money that we've had to put into the contract each year has been over 3%. So and that has been divided among salary and benefits, certainly. So it hasn't been, an area that is, we've fallen behind the cost of living. But we've contributed to the benefit package that's been offered.
Yeah, like,
But, and we communicated this to you earlier, while we haven't given you a new specific salary proposal, we recognized your concern with what is the current hiring salary and its relationship to other salaries. And we indicated that we were giving serious consideration to looking at, and we had even put out, possibly eliminating 1 or 2 steps at the low end of the grid to try to address that issue. So we're talking some fairly serious money, but we've got to be sure that the combination of where we end up with health insurance and where we end up with salary is affordable.
So can I ask the board, like, are these numbers, like, real numbers, or are the, like, what, 19,038 is what it says that you're willing to, or, sorry, total board, 19,425 for
Right.
platinum subscriber, 14,000.
Right, yeah.
Like, but, like, what is the real, like, because I'm not hearing that that's
It isn't.
the real number.
Right.
So I guess that's, like, I don't know if we can get the real number.
Well, I don't think
Like,
there is a real number. We have the percentages that we had from VI and the other people, and,
Yep.
we're 60, 70, 50, somewhere in those general areas.
Yep.
They were going, but that would apply all the way across to the expenses that you're talking about, your out-of-pocket expenses also, above the initial. So it's across the board. how we're going to, how we're going to fund that to be sure we have the money to be able to do it, that's our responsibility. How we do it really isn't a concern, I don't think, of yours, it's a concern of ours. We've got to do it.
Okay.
I guess
So-
the
go
other
ahead.
thing is that we can talk and we can seriously consider this proposal, but without seeing the salary proposal alongside it, it's hard, we can't say yes to this. I guess that's my other point, is without having a salary proposal to look at the two of them, because yes, we understand they're interrelated.
Right.
But, so we can't say yes to half when then we don't know what the other half is, or whatever portion that is. So we really need that salary proposal. It is a proposal, you're not,
We're
not set in
echoing
stone, so-
what you're saying, but we're saying that we need to see the health side of it so we can do the salary proposal. You're saying you need to see the salary so you can give us the
well, no,
health.
we'd like
We're
to see
both
them
doing
together.
it.
Well, we'd like to see them
They're
together,
together.
because then we can balance and say, oh, yeah, this works.
So if we can decide on monies, I mean, my counter proposal that I gave back to you, like, I mean, the money for the gold CDHP and silver CDHP is exactly the same as what you guys gave us.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
but you don't want that. You want like the way that you, so if that's the budget that we're setting up, like, so we're just talking about who pays first and how much they're paying. If we compromise on the platinum and gold dollars, and I said, all right, yeah, sure, we'll go with your dollars, but we're gonna switch like the percentages and who pays what. Like, are those monies agreed on, like, are those able to then, can you kind of work a budget, or do you need to have in your mind, I need to know how much, who's paying first and what the percentage of this is, or are you just looking for the monies? Like the gold CDHP and silver CDHP monies that you can budget, like I gave you back the exact same thing that you gave me, I just kind of switched a little bit. So we kind of agreed on those overall dollars, just who's paying what when.
The difference is that with the HRA, what we're not spending is gonna go in for that major expenditure we might have. Okay? And what you're trying to do is make us spend those dollars up front and then hope that nothing happens afterwards.
Okay.
It's the way I look at what your proposal was. The top part, I think we're okay, 80/20, it's who pays first and who pays next. That's why I keep coming back to, because I think we're gonna pay something. Because you always have, the number of employees you have, there's gonna be a percentage that's gonna reach cap or be close to it. We have to prepare for that. And we can't do that if we spend all of our money up front and still come in within a budget that allows us to give you anything reasonable.
Okay, so if we agreed on the dollars for the platinum and the gold plan, like, is that, can you budget that, or do you need to know, like, what the percentage is coming out
You
first?
keep leaving out one sentence, that you pay the out-of-pocket first for whatever percentage you think that is.
Right.
Because that's different dollars. That's dollars that we can look at that go into an HRA. Because we're not paying it first.
Right, well, those dollars, you wouldn't worry, you wouldn't fund that. You're saying,
We
how would it be different if you paid it first, I guess? Why would
Well,
that
we
go
would-
into an
we- we're not-
HRA?
we wouldn't pay it, I mean, we certainly wouldn't assume or that we would pay that full amount.
No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the amount that they're
Right.
saying for the initial payment, whatever the percentage was.
Right, like I said 30, but that was just me.
Yeah, so,
like,
so there's a percentage of that we'd have to take and assume that we're gonna pay.
Right.
Because they're gonna have,
But wouldn't that go
medical-
into the HRA, that would be, so your HRA account for us, like you're saying, oh,
it'd
we
be,
can't put that, we can't put
it would
that
be
in.
a savings that we would wait until you reach your cap, not your cap, but your payment, that we then would turn around and start paying our share.
Right.
And it's a formula. You have to calculate what your risk is and where you are.
Right, so it's not just the dollars, it's the.
Risk factor.
The order of said dollars that you guys need for you to budget. I guess that my question going forward, like, as we're talking, do you need to know what the dollar amount is? Or do you need to know how it's all distributed?
Dollar amounts and
Um,
risk.
Dollar amount, but again, what we were trying to do, the initial, I know that we're repeating ourselves here, was to be sure that there would be the opportunity to have an insurance program for your members that is really better than what they have right now. It's more inclusive, it covers things that weren't covered with your old dual option plan. And we wanted to be able to offer that program to you at a cost that was no greater than what you're paying right now.
Right, that's right.
Now, there are options that you could go with, you could pay more, and that's what we was trying to do.
Right.
In terms of the amount of money that the board was willing to put out, we wanted to keep it as low as possible.
Right.
So we could use that money for whatever it would be. We might be able to put it more into salaries, we might be able to put it more into whatever else it would be to
Right.
keep the amount of money that we have to raise through taxes. And those were the assumptions that we've said this before, that
Yeah.
we went into when we did it.
So, and I guess this is my question, and maybe I'm like being redundant, but if your amount that you had in the family plan was $19,038,
Right.
and if I come back with a proposal of the plan and not one plan goes over $19,038, is that not what you were asking, or now is it all about like the order as well? So there's not a plan that you will never pay more than $19,038 for any of these plans. Like, then why does it matter, like, the order of where it's paid? I guess that's where I'm stuck. Like, if you said, we don't want to pay a cent more than what we're paying right now, and you're telling me you're paying $19,000 and, or $38 for that 80%. So if we come back with every single, some of them even lower, like 17,000, 18,000, but say the gold and the platinum plan, we work out a formula and it's 19,000 and like $5 and it's 19,000 and $10 that the board's paying at the maximum for those plans. Is that still is not what you're looking for, because the 19,038 is not like a real, like, no, I'm just trying to.
Well,
What money's left?
let's just go back to where we started.
Okay.
Okay? Because we started with a proposal that said, we're gonna spend what we spent in FY17. And we said it's a flat allowance.
Yep.
It'll be 7,000, 11,000, 14,000, whatever, 18,000, whatever it was. And we said, you pick whatever plan you want.
Yep.
Here it is, it's a flat dollar amount. That's what we wanted. Because then we know that we can budget,
Right.
okay? And
It was 19,038.
Right, so can I ask, so then how is what you're proposing different than what Mike is asking, is if we hold the line
Okay,
that,
because you then said, we don't want to have a flat dollar amount.
Correct.
You said that,
right,
okay? So you then said, we want to do a premium split,
Right.
which was not what we proposed in the beginning.
We wanted a percentage. We were looking at percentages, not necessarily
Well,
for this year. I mean, honestly, and this is my, like, and I've said this to people before, 19,038 is a great dollar amount for this year. It's like, but it's not necessarily like, it would be the same for next year and the year after possibly, and that's what could go down, premiums could go like, out of pocket
well,
could
but
go
anyway,
up.
all I'm saying is,
Go the other way.
It's
so
unpredictable.
so you wanted a percentage,
Yep.
and then we pointed out that, well, percentage of what?
Right.
Percentage of premium, percentage of out-of-pocket. And so then we moved into this discussion of, okay, we'll talk, percentage of premium, and then we'll talk percentage of out-of-pocket. The other thing is, in our initial proposal, we didn't say who pays first. We just said, here's your money.
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, but you guys rejected that, so that's off the table.
Yep.
Now we're going at this a completely different way. And because we're going at it a completely different way, where we're gonna talk percentage of premium and we're gonna talk percentage of out-of-pocket, we also are gonna talk who's gonna pay that first out-of-pocket. And we're going to look at trying to blend, our budgeting process to see that we don't lose money. So,
I guess I'm just, so it's not that you're losing money for this year, because I don't know how you would lose money for, like, you'd actually like gain money, like with this, if you gave everybody $19,038 as your flat amount, you had to give them that, versus somebody takes the gold CDHP plan and they get it only costs $17,665 or whatever. So as far as budgeting goes, it's not for this year, it's for next year or the following year? Because I guess that's where I'm confused. If I stay under that $19,038, like, you can budget that. That's the maximum that it's gonna get, like, as far as the payment goes for this year.
No.
So I don't know, am I confused and not knowing
We're
this?
not approaching it that way.
But you keep saying, you use that number when you talk to me
Well,
about
if I
the
look at that.
FY
plan-
board cost $19,038. That's, I mean, I'm using what you wrote
Yeah.
on your
Well,
proposal.
you know, understand as well, our initial proposal had that we were not going to be paying for spouses who have access to insurance.
You guys dropped that, though. Like
We
you
dropped that,
said.
but that all goes into this analysis in terms of what are we looking, in other words, all the compromise has been one way so far, as far as I can see. Meaning
I don't think
that we changed from being sort of a flat amount to, okay, you want, to do a premium split, fine, we'll do a share of the out-of-pocket expenses. We wanted to do HSAs only. You said, no, we want HRAs. We said, okay, we'll do HRAs. And now we're agreeing, we're gonna pick up the cost of administering the HRA.
And I think with everything, all that I've been saying is I want our members to have 4 options. That's really where we're trying to go.
Yeah, we're ready.
So, are you guys ready to caucus?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk, and I said I would stop talking earlier, so apologize.
Once a teacher, always a teacher.
We'll come back in, what, like 20 minutes?
Okay. 20 up?
Yeah. You have to or did we
No,
not?
we're all
Make a
set. We've
motion,
been doing that?
I make a motion, we
Go back into open session.
Yeah.
July, we're all done.
We're all done.
Exactly.
Don't want anybody there.
So we talked through the proposal. One of the things that, like, we're gonna ask of you guys, like, it seems that we send our proposals to you and you have like a week to, like, 10 days to look at them, and then you tend to give us yours, like, and we have a couple of, like, less than half an hour to go over it. So, I will email you playing off of what you guys have proposed, hearing Nelson and some other people say, out of, like, the SWBEA paying out of pocket first, coming up with a percentage of that and kind of shaking it out. We will send you our numbers as far as that goes, with us paying first before the end of this week.
Okay.
What we ask of you guys, if before the end of before the next meeting, preferably not the day before the next meeting, that you could,
If we get it by Friday, we'll respond back to you by Wednesday. Is that realistic, Ed or Nick?
yeah, I can
Steve?
get it. It'll be there before the end of the week. So I was gonna say a response back, and if we could see, based on what the response back is, where
Right.
you're going with salaries,
Yeah.
rather than just throw it at us at the next meeting, I think it does us a disservice, and we seem to be unorganized and, on our heels a little bit, because, I gave you our proposal 10, 11 days ago. Not that you had
Right.
10, 11 days that you were just analyzing it, but it does give you some time to organize, and we just look at it right at the.
If you get what you were talking about to us in terms of proposal by Friday.
Yep.
We will, Steve, is that agreeable to you too? We'll have something back to you by the end of the day Wednesday. Or we can get Nick and,
Well, but you're also asking about salary.
So we would like to see what you're gonna present as far as salary goes.
Right, I think that
Before the next meeting.
Right.
Is what we're looking at. We don't want to just get it.
we're gonna have to, we can certainly do the insurance. We can do the insurance. I think, we're pretty committed to a total sum of money. And in order to be able to have a realistic proposal for salary, we've got to get a pretty concrete idea as to where we are going to end up with insurance, at least, relatively so. Because nothing is going to be signed and sealed until the whole thing is done. But we really feel that we would like to be able to get that down as much as we possibly can before we go on into salary.
So I will send you our counter proposal by Wednesday, and you will have
No, okay.
I will send it by Wednesday. You
Okay.
gave Friday.
Okay.
I can have it to you by Wednesday.
Okay.
And then we're hoping that you guys can look through that, and within 7 days, even by like that following Friday, have for us like your response to to what you have seen, and then also like where you're going as far as salary, so that we don't have to come in on Monday at our next meeting and just be kind of handed it and not sure. I'd love to be able to talk with people before the meeting.
Yeah.
So that's whenever, even if it's by
No,
like that weekend before,
Okay.
that is, I think we are not as organized as we would like to be when we get the proposals at the meeting.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
So let me just be sure that I don't want to make a commitment we can't follow through on. And what we will do, when we will have something back to you by a week from Wednesday.
Yeah.
A week from Wednesday. Steve, is that comfortable with that?
Yeah, I just we'll have to caucus after
Yeah.
we conclude this.
Exactly what we'll do. And then your proposal that you'll get to us by Wednesday will deal with basically the health insurance issue.
It'll be all health
in terms of what Nelson and others have been talking about, that first dollar payment.
Correct.
Okay.
So I will get that to you, staying within like the discussion that we've
Sure.
been talking about, but honoring that first out-of-pocket expenses.
Very good.
How do we propose responding to their proposal, which you say you could have by Wednesday or Friday?
Wednesday.
When we don't meet again until.
Well, that's what we're going to.
That's what we have to
Because I
call
think
it.
we are going to have to meet again.
Right.
Yeah, we are.
To be able to respond to you before your meeting,
Right.
we would have to have nomination.
Yeah, we're going to have to, we'll have a caucus after this and get it. Okay. Well, is everybody's,
Has there been any change to your salary proposal? What was your initial proposal, which I believe was, what, 3.5?
3.5 plus step,
Plus step?
which comes out to be about 5%.
I think we were ahead.
If there was, I would say send it with,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, part of that, we held off on that, looking, so we could say, you're in it, is there any?
No, I'm just asking for,
Yeah, no, we actually
just
have
always
not
something
had
to
a
respond, right?
discussion about salary
Right.
since
Yeah,
December 12th
Right.
when we
Hasn't
typed that up. So, we have not, that's like back page and we haven't gotten to that.
the other thing is that your proposal was 3 years and our proposal was 2 years. And I don't know if you've thought about a 2-year proposal as opposed to a 3-year. Probably not.
We have not yet. I mean, we're still hoping for a 3-year contract.
Yeah, I missed that yours was two.
That's what their initial was 2. when
Yeah.
they- yep.
Okay.
And we do have other issues that have not been completely resolved. We have the in-service business that you've talked about. I
And
think.
again, and I just want to make it clear, somewhat, I'm thinking maybe I haven't been as clear tonight as usual, but We're just looking to, even if it's 9 days of professional development, which is what is in we're looking to not have it say 9 days. We're looking for it to say, 67 and a half hours, or however many that 7.5 times 9 is.
Okay.
To just give flexibility. So we can talk about what the numbers are going forward, but we just wanted to hear your thoughts on just more flexibility.
Okay.
And one final thing, because we're fast approaching summer vacation, and generally negotiations have not proceeded during the summer months, and we're needing to get things to closure. I would like to see if we can get a mediation scheduled between now and the time of summer vacation in the event we don't conclude a contract.
Hadn't we agreed to names earlier?
But we hadn't actually agreed to go ahead and get something scheduled. I've got names.
I think that's fine.
Good.
Okay, so I will,
That was part of that opening that discussion, was to do that,
Right.
so yes.
I know we gave them to Norm, we had Ira, and we had, I've forgotten who, the same names you've
John
heard for
Costa, I
years.
believe.
Sorry.
And so, should I correspond with you or with Norm or both of you?
Yes, both.
Both?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Then I will do that.
And we did talk about and this is something to discuss, our next meeting is on
The 22nd.
the 22nd. If there are time, we've been meeting until 6 o'clock, and but I know there are times that we may be able or need to extend the sessions. And I think that can be done sometimes when there's that prior
Sure.
stuff.
I think that's a good point. Maybe we could consider that for the 22nd if we get all that paperwork.
Right.
We'll have more to
Right,
talk
and
about.
there's-
So we won't set a definite end. We'll still begin at 4.
Leave it
If we could-
open-ended.
If we could decide just at least a week prior to that, because normally if we do that, I mean, I know we worked this out before, one or the other will split dinner, in the sense of,
Yeah,
because I certainly want to we want to feed people if they're staying beyond 6 o'clock.
okay. We'll work that out. Are there any other things, Steve, you want to? If we.
Do we want to try to
Yeah,
pick another meeting
yeah,
day?
I think
Yeah.
we should.
I mean, 2 weeks, boy, I hate to do this.
Do we necessarily need 2 weeks? Could we go 1 week or?
I think at this point,
At this
we
point,
could
I
go
think we
1
need
week.
to start.
So that would be the 29th then?
Which is Memorial
so that's gonna be a
Day.
no.
That's a no.
Doesn't mean you couldn't go elsewhere in that week, but as far as the Monday goes, that's gonna be a
The
no.
30th, I think.
We only have Mondays because
do
people can do
Tuesday.
other days.
Who can't do Tuesday?
May 30th?
Sure.
Wednesday, May 31st.
How about May 31st, Wednesday?
No.
The fourth Wednesday, or it's actually the
It's
fifth
the
Wednesday of the
extra
month.
Wednesday.
Yeah, the 5th of the month.
Oh, it's the fifth Wednesday.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
could.
it's the
we
only
could do
non-meeting
that.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
SVSU board meeting at 7.
on the fifth Wednesday.
But you'll be through by then.
No,
31st. He said the 31st.
31st.
What?
Nothing on 31st?
I can't, but you don't need.
Oh.
So I think we could look at May 31st.
What day-
That's a Wednesday. It's
Sure.
It's the last Wednesday of,
Yeah, I actually find something because it's the one Wednesday of the month that I don't have meetings, so
Me too.
I'm committed elsewhere.
Actually, that day,
What?
reusability might have, but I'll double check.
Okay, what about that too? Let's see, what about
The
the Tuesday?
30th.
The 30th would be better, I think. How about the 30th? That would be better. Then if people are leaving for that holiday or something, they can get off.
what's after the holiday?
Is it after the holidays?
Yeah,
Okay.
the 29th is the holiday. They
Okay.
better not be leaving after.
They better be coming back.
Yeah.
Coming back.
So we could do, is anybody Tuesday the 30th is not good for some? So that'll set, so our next meeting is on the 22nd.
Right.
And then and we'll look to see if we can extend that meeting based on healthcare stuff. I know you were going to look through the language that we had given you, on the 8.14.
Right.
And then follow up on I think we've left you guys with the professional development, like, to talk about, and then also the elementary school language piece with
Right,
the
we are,
elementary school
right, they
principals.
are working on it, so
Right,
I think we just
right.
should wait until,
Right.
hopefully they can work it
So
out.
those are the things that I think are,
Well, let me just be sure we've got this correct. So we're meeting on the 22nd at 4 o'clock with the option of going past the 6 o'clock deadline. Then we are meeting on May the 30th, May the
Tuesday.
30th, 4 o'clock here. And Steve is going to, with Norm or however you guys do it, look for a mediator, see if we can get something set up. If we could, having him on that 30th would be absolutely great to give us a,
Well,
or
or
whatever.
at least before the school break.
Before school breaks.
If you can get them on the 30th, you, good for you.
What, as soon as possible.
I don't think that's gonna.
No,
Everybody happy?
not gonna happen. These guys are all scrambling.
Take him home, will you?
Okay?
Okay, well, I'll ask for a motion then to adjourn this meeting.
Nelson, I.
Second, everybody, oh, I just never asked for approval, did I ask for approval of minutes just to keep it all legal?
you did.
Okay, good.
Actually, we need to have a short
Yes.
caucus.
Okay, we'll have a very short caucus in the back room there.